You know, we live in a world that is complex. I mean, I think everybody in every life, in every stage of life they've lived in, has thought their lives were complex. But we certainly live in a world that's unusual in terms of the amount of communication that comes into us each and every day. And so an organization's ability to cope with change is a huge factor in how well it performs. And there are two kind of areas for this complexity, sources of it. The things going on outside the world, which we do not control, you know, what's happening in our industry, what's happening economically, politically. It depends on what your business is, the forces outside that matter, but they're changing all the time and rapidly. And then, if that weren't enough, we have internal changes. And we know that, but I think many times we don't grasp the significance of the forces that are at work internally. And I like to use this diagram to illustrate this. It's a simple concept that if you have three people in your group, a small three-person group, there's only three potential interactions. A can talk to B, B can talk to C, or A can talk to C. That's it. But if you take that same group and expand them to 25 people, that's roughly an eightfold increase. 8 times 3 is 24. But the number of potential interactions goes up 117-fold. Now there's hidden in here a principle that when you grow, when you're successful as an organization, when you execute well, you grow. And when you grow, you become more complex. And it's sort of, we call it a paradox, the execution paradox, that the better you execute, the harder it is to continue to execute. And here's how this sort of looks at Susan's level. You can see on this chart, she's got this little cluster of people in her particular department she works with. She gets to know them, and she still has challenges staying on the same page with them. But Susan is not just working with them. She's on a committee that's working on some project, and she's on another policy group that's a standing committee that stays in place forever. And she has all these interconnections all over. Now, mentally draw these same connections for every person on this chart, and you can see where this explosion of potential interactions are and why it's so hard for us to communicate effectively, for Susan to know what she should do. And I liken this to the old frog in the kettle. You know, research shows that if you slow the warming of water with a frog in it, because they're amphibious, they do not detect the changes. And that's what happens in our organizations. We hire somebody to solve a problem because we don't have enough people, but at that same time, we just turned up the temperature a little bit of the organization. Now is a little different, and it's a little harder to manage. And then you hire another person and another, and this dynamic is going on all the time.